They're letting Ron be Ron.
Oh, yeah.
Ron DeSantis back on the campaign trail. The only problem he's having right now is that it turns out that like his campaign manager quit. Was that did that just happen?
Quit, fired, who knows?
Well, he's replacing his campaign manager.
So Gennaro Peck, the campaign manager, has been replaced by his like fixer guy. That's like, I don't remember. His name is John something. I'll get his name, but he's like the sort of fixer of the campaign.
Well, he's got a lot to fix.
You gotta let Ron be Ron, folks. Here he is, Ron DeSantis. It's weird that you hadn't heard this before. It's so weird. But Mike Pence is out there saying the same thing, like the Constitution. Mike Pence, may you have someone who is as interested in you as Mike Pence was in a way in which he could do Donald Trump's bidding on January 6th.
Yeah.
Like, may you have someone who would go to every end of the earth to try and figure out how to service you in the way that Mike Pence did Donald Trump. But he couldn't figure it out. And then, everybody wanted, all the people who voted for him wanted to hang him. Here's Ron DeSantis, who suddenly has an announcement to make.
So you recently said the election is what it is. You said all those theories that were put out did not prove to be true. So can we just put this to bed so you don't have to be asked about this a million more times? Yes or no, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Whoever puts their hand on the Bible on January 20th every 4 years is the winner. And I don't think the election, and I've pointed out in that same quote, and I've said this from the very beginning, when they changed the rules for COVID, I think that was wrong. I think some of those changes were unconstitutional. When they do mass mail ballots, I think that's wrong. I think ballot harvesting is wrong. I think the Zuckerbucks were wrong. I think the fact that the FBI was working with Facebook and these other tech companies to censor the Hunter Biden story was wrong. And so I don't think it was the perfect election. I remember after a lot of the media was saying this is the most secure election in history. How could it be the most secure with those millions of mail ballots going out? At the same time, after the election, they were talking about Maduro stealing votes on the voting machines or whatever, and none of those theories proved to be true. But here's the issue that I think is important for Republican voters to think about. Why did we have all those mail votes? Because of Trump turned the government over to Fauci. They embraced lockdowns. They did the CARES Act, which funded mail-in ballots across the country.
Folks, if you've ever seen, a guy or a gal for that matter, throwing knives at someone who's standing against a wall with their hands like this. And the trick is, how can I throw it and show that I've got great aim by not hitting the person?
It's more preamble to this in the Constitution.
I've just never seen somebody just with such palpable anxiety try to get out of really directly answering a question. He gives the January 20th pre-planned, canned kind of statement there, and then it's Maduro, Zuckerbucks, voter,
the Bible.
I mean, no sane person knows what the hell he's talking about. Nobody.
It's like, imagine being on a balance beam. Now split that, cut it in half, and then have it stick out of electric, water with an live electric wire in the water. That's what this feels like he's doing here, and it's almost as if he thinks if I keep talking, maybe everybody will forget what the question was.
If I just contextualize ad nauseum the part where I'm going to actually say Trump didn't win the election, maybe people will forgive me for it. It's no, you're losing people as you do that.
Yes, I mean, if without providing either condemn him or do a full-throated defense of him, which I don't think would make sense.
This is what Blake Masters did
in
the primary.
I mean, you can't split the baby here. They're going to call you a rhino if you don't completely back him, but you're already a rhino because you're running against him. Exactly. So might as well attack him.
Which funded mail-in ballots across the country. Donald Trump signed that bill that funded the mail ballots that all the Republicans have been so concerned about.
Yeah, why do people
and
vote?
also with the censorship of the Hunter Biden. That was Donald Trump's FBI that was working with that. He didn't have control over his own government. So me as the nominee, we will not let them run circles around us. If there is ballot, in Florida, we ban ballot harvesting, right? I think that's what you should do. If there is ballot harvesting that's allowed in like Nevada, we are going to do it too. We're not going to fight with one hand tied behind our backs. And so I think all of those issues were very problematic. But at the end of the day, you know, Donald Trump helped facilitate that whole set of circumstances.
Okay, but respectfully, he did not clearly answer that question. And if you can't give a yes or no on
Because-
whether or not Trump lost, then how
Well,
can
of course he lost.
Trump lost the 2020 election?
Of course,
Okay.
Joe Biden's the president. But the issue is, I think what people
Right.
in the media and elsewhere, they want to act like somehow this was just like the perfect election. So I don't think it was a good run election. But I also think Republicans didn't fight back. You've got to fight back when that is happening, and you shouldn't have provided all the money to fund the mail-in ballots.
Perfect elections,
Well
like,
done,
was
Sam.
2000 a perfect election?
No.
Well, I mean, except for the whole part that it took like 4 months to resolve.
I mean, and speaking of the FGI, was 2016 a perfect election on their
Right.
front? Like, I mean, what are we talking about?
I mean, he's a scaredy cat. He's a scaredy cat. Can you just play really quickly that clip that I sent that Ken tweeted out? It's a zoomed in video of him trying to talk to reporters. I think that it gives everybody a sense of the charisma void that we're dealing with here. Black hole. Yes. He doesn't have a sense of how to win over a Republican electorate. He's running the most online campaign in history. You heard that with the Maduro and the thing, and but he can't talk to people, and he also has no gauge.
He's just letting he's letting Ron be Ron.
Felix Biederman had a good point about this, which like this is the most. I don't know if this is the beer. Let's play this and then I'll.
I mean, this is just another cringe DeSantis thing that I saw this morning.
Today, your poll numbers behind President Trump have been pretty substantially behind. And you
Not here.
Jeez.
Yeah. All right. Maybe that it was the stare into the camera at the end.
There's one video of him like where he's drinking a beer and then he's just talking about how he can't wait to go home and it's past his bedtime and his wife is probably asleep, and that's probably as relatable as DeSantis has ever been.
But the Republican Party does not want DeSantis to be relatable. They don't want their nominee
No,
to be
they want him to
relatable.
be drunk and like the center of attention.
No, they want their nominee to be the boss. I mean, that's what Trump is, right?
I mean, I think there's so many things on like a personal level where Ron DeSantis doesn't do, but the problem is also is like DeSantis thinks that there's like issue sets for Republicans, and as opposed to like the issues just being a mechanism. There's there's racial resentment, there's gender resentment, there's immigrant resentment. But that's all baseline. There's nobody in the Republican Party who's not offering all of that. It really is just like, what's the packaging going to be? And his packaging is bad.
Yeah. It's a packaging that Trump dispensed with like in 2016 very easily. And Sam Adler-Bell has the point where he says like DeSantis is running like kind of an Elizabeth Warren campaign, like policy, even though it's like a bizarro one where like his policies are like, don't teach about slave owners. It's still like too wonky still.
Suing InBev on behalf of the Florida Pension Fund, saying that it's been like a damaging to the shareholders. Like, no Trump rally goers like being like, yeah, like.
And you see that in the poll.
Tort law reform.
Or the Times spoke to Republican voters, and it was an article from yesterday about how they're chilling on wokeness as being something that's motivating them. But if Trump was the one who was the wokeness candidate, do you think that would be the reaction within the Republican electorate? It's just because it's DeSantis who's the one who's saying it.